And thanks for joining us this Sunday on your channel of choice, Africa Independent Television AIT. This is Signature Show. I'm Wabos Njoko, and stamping his signature on the show this Sunday once again is Vin Martin Ilo. Vin?
Glad to be here again. I was here last Sunday, and I must tell you that it's getting more exciting.
Last week, the federal government began making good its promise to give kind of a knee jack to the Nigerian economy. It started paying 30,000 naira to artisan businesses and small-scale businesses as a means of retooling, as it were, the economy.
Yeah, of course they started paying 30,000, and we hear some categories of these artisans would get up to 50. But a lot of Nigerians are really worried. Why won't the government go a step further? Because, like you said, it's to rejig the economy, put money in the hands of Nigerians, put more money in circulation. And I was thinking that they should consider that even in the big contracts.
That, in fact, Vin, as you said, in the big contracts, I listened to Joe Biden 2 weeks ago, and one of the promises he made was that he will award the big contracts to American companies and not to China and not outsourcing to India. I also have listened to the British Prime Minister, all of them trying to conserve and keep money at home.
Yeah, especially with the impact of COVID-19 on the world economy and national economies. I think that those in charge of our finances and our economy should be doing something in that direction. We should borrow a leaf from a country like the United Kingdom, borrow a leaf from what Biden talked about and what a couple of other European countries are doing to rejig the economy after the very impactful COVID-19 pandemic.
Is that to say that our establishment does not have confidence in our companies, in our professionals, in our skilled workers?
Maybe, maybe not. There's no doubt that, I mean, you cannot compare a good, outstanding European or American companies with companies in Nigeria. But our companies and indigenous businesses have really done well. Of course, you told me about the documentary
Yes.
You saw, that NNPC. We are getting competent Nigerians in a lot of places, and I think by giving businesses to companies where they work in Nigeria here would be a good encouragement and an incentive.
That is to
for
say,
those
really,
companies to do better.
When did you watch that material of an Italian bridge that collapsed, designed by one of their finest architects? They went back to the drawing board to find out why that bridge collapsed. That was domesticating skill and competence and not throwing away the baby with the bathwater. Do we fear that our own homegrown skilled manpower will fail and fail forever if we don't give them a chance to fail and find out why?
Of course not. They're not even failing. What are you talking about? In a lot of countries, Nigerians are the big people in technology, in building, in medicine. So it's just for us to think home and then empower Nigerian and Nigerian companies.
Now, thinking about home and keeping resources at home, the federal government has done something which, by my own calculation, is worth celebrating. You know, the President Muhammadu Buhari, announced on the day that we were celebrating the World Teachers' Day, announced a new salary scale for Nigeria's primary and secondary school teachers. Some people have been talking about it. Then, do you think that that's going to create an impact in the education sector?
Yes, I think so. It's going to attract more qualified professionals. And we won't be doing anything out of the ordinary, because in a lot of jurisdictions, teachers are about the best paid professionals. They're among the best paid professionals. And with this gesture from Mr. President, maybe Nigerian teachers are going to receive their
reward.
Their reward
Here in Nigeria.
Here in Nigeria, before they go to heaven.
Well, correspondent Damilola Abudu went out to feel the pulse of Nigerians on this new policy. That is our special report this Sunday. Stay with us.
On Monday, 5th of October 2020, President Muhammadu Buhari approved a new salary scale for teachers in primary and secondary schools. The announcement also provided for the years of service of the teachers to be moved from 35 to 40 years and their retirement age from 60 to 65 years. The new policy has been eliciting commendations from many Nigerians who see it as a legacy from the Buhari administration, which can revolutionize education in Nigeria.
I have to say that it's a welcome development, what the government is doing. Nobody wants to be a teacher nowadays, but with pronouncements like that, if they follow through, it will actually encourage more teachers, more school leavers to actually take teaching as a profession.
Primary and secondary school education, where the new policy applies, are on the concurrent list, which means that state governments also run and administer education at those levels. For the new federal initiative to have the expected national impact, it must be adopted by state governments.
Education being in the concurrent list, so is the employment of teachers. And now that this beautiful pronouncement has been made, NUT wants it properly defined in such a way that it will apply to all the teachers in Nigeria.
Already, there is high expectation that an improved salary scale and longer years of service for the teachers will attract the best brains into the teaching profession and retain them in the system for a longer period. However, the new salary structure could also create labor issues if the state governments fail to key into the new policy and therefore create a discrimination between federal school teachers and those of state governments.
So a teacher, if you are a degree teacher, a beginner teacher, your professional allowances and remuneration is specified. It's specified, and that is what you'll be paid no matter where you are employed. And any governor who says he cannot pay is because he wants to work against the people.
Similarly, governments, both at the federal and state level, must consider applying the new salary policy across board to also attract brilliant minds into their teaching service and in the tertiary institutions. As a matter of fact, the Nigerian teacher at whatever level should be the highest paid civil servant in Nigeria if the nation's manpower needs are to be revolutionized. The expectation from Nigerian parents is already high, because many parents feel that attracting better qualified and brilliant minds into the teaching profession will impact on the quality of the products of the primary and secondary schools to the benefit of many young Nigerians.
It's a step in the right direction. It will ginger them to do more. If you are satisfied, you have something to fall onto, you don't need to do extra work, then you have time for your students, then you can give the best to them. I think it will impact positively to our economy and to the children in general.
It will definitely impact on the quality of education, because a teacher that is well motivated will be encouraged to carry out research to ensure that he delivers the best to his students, and which will be reflected in the results or exams that they take at common entrance level and junior secondary school level, as well as the SSCE level.
As much as the federal government should be commended for this initiative, care must be taken that its implementation produces the expected benefits. It should not be allowed to create new challenges. Well, it seems like it's the season of protest and agitations in Nigeria, from strike by university teachers, of course, to the big End SARS protests that we see all over the country, notwithstanding that the police authorities have brought an end to SARS dissolved it, killed it, give it whatever name, renamed it. But young people and the rest of Nigeria is still protesting. And for me, I keep saying, let's not just protest against one tiny arm of the police force. Police brutality cuts across SARS, MOPO, ordinary policemen, constables, officers. So let this protest also target police brutality in its wider form, police reformation, police reorganization, because we really need a police force with a human face. And maybe this is the time to change police force to police something else.
Then I'm also bothered by the entry of the Northern Youth last week when they said, look, we are going to take to the streets to protest the continued insecurity in northern parts of the country. And I was about to ask you, really, before you use that phrase, is it the season of protests?
Well, Wambeze, let's go to your interview with Senator Shehu Sani, who weighed in on this SARS controversy and raised other issues of national importance.
This is SignatureTV.org. Breaking the news. Following the news. Analyzing the news. 247 round the clock. All on the go. SignatureTV.org. News in your pocket.
Well, let me welcome you to the conversation segment of the Signature Show. It is not always that you have, I won't say opportunity, the chance, the good fortune indeed, of trapping down some personalities within the Nigerian polity. This afternoon, I have somebody whom the media had described as a progressive politician of the thinking class. My guest this afternoon is distinguished Senator Shehu Sani. Senator, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
I know that you know what is happening in Nigeria currently. Demonstrations, as somebody says, is it the season of protests? But let us focus on the demonstration by End SARS Now team. Do you see this protest as first legitimate and then necessary?
Thank you for having me once again. Well, first and foremost, a protest is a popular revolt and dissent against a policy, a system, a program, or a government, as it is within this context. People in Nigeria today, particularly young people, have risen to challenge the established order. Specifically, the protest was triggered by police brutality that was perpetrated by a unit of the police force that is known as SARS. SARS has been an institution in terms of violations of fundamental rights. It has become so notorious and infamous in its activities, in its conduct, in its record, its stewardship, and in its history. In the last 3 decades, SARS has turned itself into a state within a state where they operate with impunity and without accountability. The people of this country, particularly the young people, because if you look at the age range of those that have been on the street today, are people mostly in their teens, in their 20s, and in their early 30s. It may be about SARS, the protest may have been triggered about SARS, but in a broader scale, it is about a complete rejection with the conduct and the activities of the political establishment. The nation in the last 20 to 30 years has been suffocated by a political class that put into primary line their own interests and that of their families. A nation that is so endowed with resources, with enough resources to ensure a comfortable life for most Nigerians, have simply turned into a nation of very few people and their own family. The level of poverty in this country, the disconnect between the government and the people who it's supposed to lead, the widening gap between the rich and the poor, the pervasive insecurity and unemployment in the country is enough to bring people out to the street. Now, the protests, the uprising is not simply about SARS. If you look at revolutions throughout the world, there must be an issue. In Tunisia, a young man called Mohamed Bouazizi was molested by a policeman, and he decided to burn himself, and that became a trigger that set the whole Arab countries ablaze in the name of what they call Arab Spring. In Sudan, it was about the rising price of bread and a discontent against the regime of al-Bashir became the spirit of the nation. Now, the young people who are on the street, not all of them, majority of them have not been actually molested by SARS. But they may have been molested by the Nigerian police and SARS are almost the same thing. But they are out in the street because they have for a very long time been marginalized, ostracized, emasculated by the system. We have seen a political class that have increasingly grown arrogant in terms of their responsiveness to the society. We have seen a political class that have become rapacious and virulent against the people who is supposed to preside over. People thought that from 2015, there will be a new spirit, a new order, a new government that will conduct the affairs of the state differently. But we have seen promises upon promises made by the present administration has never been fulfilled. If you ask me what actually triggered the people out to the street, I cannot tell you it was SARS. But there must always be one reason, that seed of the revolution, and this is what it is.
Now,
for the first time,
yes.
For the first time in the history of Nigeria, people are out to the streets, challenging the order, daring those in the political offices, and even daring the security apparatus of state without fear, and without the opposition political parties leading them out, and without the trade unions leading them out, without anybody leading them, young people funding themselves, sponsoring themselves, feeding themselves, supporting themselves, coming out to the street to challenge the government. And I believe that this is a message to the people in the position of power, that you can be in authority and in power, but it is only when people decide to fold their arms and endure the suffering which you inflict upon them, then that you will continue to do what you do. But for now, young people are out in the street. I couldn't resist some few days ago to join them. Most of us who are in our 50s now thought that we may not have a time to protest again. But it appears that is one of my most joyful moments in the last 20 years, where people are out in the street, young people saying no and insisting, and they are not there representing any political interest or political grouping, and they are not members of any political party. They are simply Nigerians. And that is why I believe that our suffering, our hardship, our penury can come to an end once the people of this country decided that they must come out and fight this. And I believe that this is not the end, it is the beginning. That is why reforming the police is not the issue. The country needs to be reformed. Okay, you reform the police, and then you have people in the position of power, from governors to ministers to legislatures, traditional rulers. Everyone is for himself. The level of injustice and inequity in Nigeria has reached such an arrogant level that you are not just being enslaved by your leaders, but the children of your leaders are also spitting on you. Many of those people who have destroyed this country and who are destroying this country, who are plundering this country, you will see their children in social media insulting other persons. Other than that, you see them during weddings and during naming ceremonies, displaying wealth as if their fathers and parents are getting this money from the farm. This is a national resource which Nigerian leaders are dipping their hands in to build a fortune for themselves and their families. It has reached a point, thousands and millions of our young people who could not find food to eat, who could not have admission in schools, who couldn't have jobs after they have graduated. You see, you only need to go to Facebook and Twitter and see how the children of people in the position of power taking selfies in private jets, organizing birthday parties in Spain, in Paris, in Western world, in some of the most expensive places in Nigeria. Their children's photos graduating in Yale, in Princeton, in Columbia, in Cambridge, in Oxford. Your leaders who are feeding on your resources, going to those countries for matriculation or graduation of their children, and posting it for our steaming youths in their millions who could not even get admission in their state college of education. And when they get it, they don't have even money to pay. Now, do you think this will continue? No. A young man in Nigeria cannot apply for a job in a government agency and get it for a number of reasons. One is that if you come from a particular part of the country, you may be disadvantaged. If you don't have anyone in the position of office to give you a short note, you may be disadvantaged. If your name and your surname is not that one which is popular, recognized, or important in the spectrum of things in Nigeria, you are also disadvantaged. So do you think that for these thousands and millions of our young people roaming about in the street, things will continue this way? It will never. Just look at it. Go to Twitter. Any attempt by you to even question why should some people be displaying stupendous wealth in a nation where millions of people couldn't find even a breakfast to eat? You will see the son of such a thief will insult you, will even put up more photographs for you to see. you think that you will continue to live in peace. It's a question of time. A time will come in this country where it will be difficult for you to even ride your private car around. Not even sports car, not Ferrari, not Lamborghini, not Bugatti, not Rolls Royce. Even Peugeot, it will be difficult for you to ride in the street because people, young people, are getting more aware and conscious of their rights and are determined to stand up and fight it.
You have to join us next week because the full interview will be served. This is the Signature Show.
And now to our second interview for this Sunday. The National Assembly is in the process of amending the 1999 Constitution. And one of the big issues being raised by a number of Nigerians is a reforming of the Nigerian judiciary. People talk about political influence, control by the executive, and the judiciary itself being a willing wench in the matter of corruption in the judiciary.
Yeah, I think we should also go back to your interview with Salas Ono, a lawyer and a judicial reform activist.
In the interest of all of us is our reason for selecting the topic we're handling this Sunday. The president himself has on several occasions said that our judiciary has a challenge of integrity, a challenge of corruption, a challenge of being pressured by politicians to do certain things that are not judicial. And the National Assembly has started the process of amending the 1999 Constitution. And one of the areas a number of lawyers have been speaking about is reforming the judiciary. The question is, how best should Nigerian judiciary be reformed? This Sunday, we have as our guest Barrister Salas Ono. Barrister Ono is not just a lawyer, he's also a legal activist. He insists that legal matters should be resolved in the interest of the country and in the interest of the rule of law. Barrister Ono, you're welcome to the conversation.
Thank you, Mr. Mwabeze.
Of late, the president has said that the overvaulting ambition of politicians creates pressure on the judiciary and undermines the judicial process. Euphemism for saying that politicians corrupt the judiciary. First, how do you find the president's comment? And how do you think this can be addressed?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mwabeze. I'd like to start by saying that a system is corrupted where the system is willing to be corrupted. So the politicians are only able to achieve their intentions because the judiciary is willing and available to be corrupted. An incorruptible judiciary is not one that is even open to such suspicion of corrupt conduct by politicians. So the president is not entirely right to say what he said. The politicians go to the judiciary or judges because they know the judges are open to the business. So they are they are co-partners in the corruption business.
These are what you may call willing wenches.
Good, they are willing wenches, so they are available to be bought. Like I said yesterday on a TV interview, you need to see what happens whenever the Court of Appeal president needs to constitute the election petition panel after election. Judges lobby to get there. If you're already complaining that you have too much cases in your tail and you don't have time to deal with them, shouldn't you be running away from additional responsibility of election petition that will come and delay your ability in dispensing justice in the cases that are already before you? No. They go there because there is a lot of money to be made in the election petition tribunals. So it is a terrible state for the judiciary, and that is why the president can look at them condescendingly and make the comment he has made. So the judiciary needs to look inward and reform itself and reorganize itself, purge itself of bad members, because one of the problems they have is also how judges are appointed. You find people lobby to become judges not because they are good or because they have a passion for the job, but because they just want to have an employment. They want to make ends meet. And when they get in there, they begin to look for other means to also hammer. That's our word now, to hammer, to make money. So they go out of their way, even asking clients or lawyers, you don't want to see me, Abi? Okay, your case will be here now for long. You don't come and see me. So judges do that. But I must say, like I always do, there are also exceptionally great judges in the system, but you don't get to hear about them. They don't put them in these election petition panels because they are seen as non-conformist, problematic, and they don't listen to anybody. In Nigeria now, if you don't listen to please to bend the rule, you are not a good person. You don't listen to anybody. So instead of promoting those incorruptible judges who don't listen to anybody but what the law say, right? They see those ones as problems.
We are watching the Signature Show on AIT. We take a break now, and when we return, steps being taken by the National Assembly to address some of these challenges. Please stay with us. Barrister Onu, let us look for solutions to some of these issues I've raised. The National Assembly is taking steps to amend the 1999 Constitution. If the judiciary faces some of these challenges, isn't there a need to propose certain procedures, certain processes, certain amendments that can help judiciary stand as strong, independent, and uninfluenced by political interests?
Well, there are. If they would do it, look at the, I wrote a proposal to the Senate Committee on the Amendment of the 1999 Constitution, and I made some recommendation in that proposal. One of the ways in which the judiciary can be strengthened, especially in political cases, would focus on election cases especially, is to reduce the influence of heads of court, selecting those who will go and hear these cases of election. When you begin to select people, lobby and go in and do it, why should we alter our court simply because of an election? If there is a court that covers a jurisdiction, if there's an election crisis in that jurisdiction, the matter should go to that court. There is no area you have an election that doesn't have a high court that covers that area. The judge in that place lives in that place. So if he collects money to give judgment in the political case, he will live in that community with the bad governance that he has supported. You don't carry a judge from Enugu to go and do election petition in Kano Whatever he does, he will say it's Kano people's problem. He will collect what he wants and go back to
Let me understand you. Are you querying the setting up of election petition panels?
Yes. It has become a corrupt setup, completely corrupt setup. Completely. They should use courts as presently constituted. If you contest an election and you lose, you quickly file an action in the High Court around your electoral vicinity. File an action there. There are laws that govern electoral elections, the Electoral Act. You use the provision of that act to do your case and let the judge decide. If you can't, if you feel you didn't get judgment in that court, then if you have the option of going to the Court of Appeal, and that takes me to another issue. Because after I made my proposal, I received a lot of calls. And I agree with some of the recommendations that people were bringing. We need to now split the Court of Appeal, not to have one Court of Appeal. There is nothing wrong with every state having a Court of Appeal. And if that is too much, then you regionalize the Court of Appeal, so that you don't have one president of Court of Appeal superintending over the entire nation. If you have a Court of Appeal for the Southeast, Court of Appeal for the South-South, for the 6 geopolitical regions in Nigeria, have a Court of Appeal handling cases arising from within that region, and ensuring that these cases end. In fact, a judge told me, look, we can even have Supreme Court for each of the geopolitical zone, so that the Supreme Court we have here in the center becomes more or less a constitutional court, so that matters of chieftaincy, land tussle, contract doesn't get to this place. It ends in the regional Supreme Court. Some end in the regional Court of Appeal. So when you do all of these things, you're going to check unnecessary influence on the judiciary. You're reducing the area of contact from powerful overlords in the center. Now, when you see corruption thriving in the judiciary, most times they look above their shoulder to know what the presidency wants. Even if the presidency has not said they want anything, sometimes people just go and bandy all kind of opinions. The president preferred this person, without the president even knowing. And then the judges who want to unnecessarily please the governing party will begin to dole out judgment that makes no sense, just to please politicians. So, but when you reduce it to regional level, you're in Southwest Court of Appeal. All the judges are likely people from Southwest. Southwest Supreme Court, all the judges are likely people from Southwest. You do election, they hear it, determine, and return whoever wins. If it is their preference to be returning criminals or people who are not elected to govern over them, they will live with it. When it comes to presidential election, like I recommended in my proposal, the Supreme Court that I envisage, I doubt if there is anywhere in the world where the Supreme Court is not designed to protect the sanctity of that nation's constitution. Their basic job is to give a final interpretation of the Constitution. And once you are made a judge of such a court, it is always your pleasure to sit here and determine issues arising from constitutional disagreements. Now, it is improper for a nation as diverse as Nigeria to have a Supreme Court where one person decides who comes and sits here and determine constitutional matter. One person will sit down, select 5 people or 6 people and put them in a panel to decide for the entire nation what the Constitution is saying. In the same Supreme Court, you will find that there are justices who are not in that panel that disagree with that view. If they were in the panel, they would have held a different view. So there is no need having people give you side comment that that judge didn't do the right thing. Let all Supreme Court justices sit on every issue that comes before them so that we'll have uniformity of decision. Not this one that today the Supreme Court, this panel will sit, decide on an issue, another panel will sit, decide and conflict what the other panel said. What you have in the Supreme Court of Nigeria now is never the majority view. It's the majority view of those sitting, not the majority view of the Supreme Court justices. We are a diverse nation. There was no reason why a presidential election that touches on every angle of this country should not have a justice in a panel from every part of this country, hearing and deciding the outcome of that election.
You are taking exception to what could be termed promotion from the higher court to the appeal court, or maybe to the Supreme Court. You are proposing that if you are in the higher court, your career goes, progresses, and ends at that level. The same thing with the appeal court, the same thing with the Supreme Court. How does this proposition affect the integrity of the judiciary?
Well, today we have a strange word in the judiciary called elevation. If you search through the Constitution, you will not find it anywhere in the Constitution. Elevation of a judge from one court or the other. Now, the Constitution created courts distinct from each other. They are all different. The High Court of a state and FCT are a different and distinct court with their jurisdiction. They are trial courts, specialized. Now we have the National Industrial Court, distinct, specialized, separate from any of these courts. The Federal High Court and the High Court are of equal jurisdiction, only subject matter jurisdiction are different, right? Now, you go to the Court of Appeal. The Constitution also created a distinct court to hear appeals from another court, which is the High Court, Federal High Court, or National Industrial Court, as the case may be, with qualification for becoming or being appointed a Court of Appeal justice. Same with the High Court. There are qualifications. You go to the Supreme Court, a distinct and unique court, specialized to hear appeals from the Court of Appeal with one or two original jurisdictions. The Court of Appeal also have original jurisdiction when it comes to whether a person has been validly elected into the office of president or vice president, which I think they are incapable of handling. Is there my proposal? Now, the Constitution created all of these courts, created the qualification for appointments into all of these courts. The High Courts, which include Industrial Court and Federal High Court, is 10 years post-call, legal practitioner with 10 years post-call experience.
Well, this is our package for this week. Don't forget that you can join this conversation, watch this program once again if you go to www.signaturetv.org. I am Vin Martin Obiora Ilo. Thanks for watching.
Well, I'm Nwabose Njoku, and thank you for investing your time this Sunday. But please don't forget to remain with us as we bring you Corruption Story immediately. Good afternoon.
Corruption in your language.
Anakuna proper salute. Welcome una again to another Corruption Story Sunday program for where we dey tackle the matter of corruption and how we dey try fight and come out for a country kwata kwata. My name na Ufoma Iguriasi. Una welcome specially. My people, the ancestor of Afrobeat, Fela Anikulapo Kuti, for one of his songs, he began us to say, teacher, no dey teach nonsense. You sabi why? Now because every student, they look him teacher, they believe anything will come up for their mouth to say, na truth be that. It means say, students, they always they accept anything where teacher they teach as correct thing. If teacher teach lie, students fit to take come to in heart, accept and say, na truth. That will mean say, if teacher teach nonsense, students go still collect the nonsense, accept am, say na sense. So it is very dangerous for teacher to teach nonsense because na mumu or criminal na they won't graduate from that man class be that. I be na woman class anyone will be. As it be so, one lecturer for Federal Polytechnic Oko, where they Anambra State, he don't carry wrong things now, showing students, and as he don't enter inside court palaver to take explanation of how he take chook hand for inside the correct mago wey concern 27 million naira scam, now they won't explain so. This director of physical planning for the Polytechnic now don't carry nonsense behavior, showing students, and not to just hope to say the students no take that nonsense as truth. My people, now our corruption story for today be that. I beg, tanda with us.
This a corruption story.
From 14th to 21st of October and even 5th of November 2020, senior lecturer for Federal Polytechnic Oko, Anambra State, architect Pius Ugochukwu Eze-Okafor, he go tanda for the dock of Anambra State High Court for Ekulobia, Agwata local government to explain how it take collect 27 million naira from one company, Emerson Associates Limited, and the managing director, Dr. Okechukwu Enemo. Now those 3 days, Justice O.A. Eze-Oke go take do trial for Pius Ugochukwu Eze-Okafor on top 3-count charge of to take mago collect money of reach 27 million naira. According by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, wey drag architect Eze-Okafor go State High Court for 2011-2012. The senior lecturer now be director of physical planning for Federal Polytechnic Oko, Anambra State. He meets Dr. Ikechukwu Enemo for the compound of the school where the man company they do one construction contract. Architect Pius Eze-Okafor tell this company say him go help them secure another contract of 1 billion naira if they roger am 27 million.
Any organization where try to change contractor or to ask contractor to give them money before they do work for them, the organization is the organization that will suffer. The number one thing be say the work that contractor go do for that organization will not be a good work. And if you go all over Nigeria as it is, that's why we see many public buildings falling. Because if you give money to the organization before they give you a contract, you will not do good work for that organization. The name of that organization to the public, the organization will have good name in the public. The public tend to look at that organization in a bad mood. They'll say that this organization normally take bribe from contractor for contract do job for them. That one will not even speak good of the organization. Then this one are even a staff of a polytechnic where students, our children go there to learn. Once those children hear that yes, this is what they do, that you must give bribe before they give you work. I don't know what those children are going to learn. They are learning from there. The mentality they'll grow with that they must take money or give money before they give their contract. So it will affect the name of the organization. The organization name in the public will not be a good one. So the work of the organization they're going to do for the organization is not going to be a good work because you don't already take bribe.
According by EFCC, after the company pay architect Eze-Okafor for the 27 million naira, na there tori wowo as the man no get the 1 billion naira contract and he no come return the 27 million naira.
For the first off, wetin you go expect for person wey just waka come tell you say if he help you arrange contracts? Person wey fit come dey solicit for contracts, for bribe, making secure contract for you. That kind of person, you go no say himself, in brain self no go well, in heart no dey well. So if they accept that kind of offer, come they give them that money, you shouldn't be surprised if income at the end of the day, no can't give you what he promise say he could give you. I'm not even surprised when I hear the matter. The company them, they suppose laugh themselves well because them know waiting they sign up and they don't see them. They not suppose even complain for that matter. Of course, you did guilty. You did very guilty. Waiting be bribe. Person give you something, make you do something where you're not supposed to do. You will collect. You know say you're not supposed to do the thing where you don't collect bribe to do. You did very guilty. You know this company you not supposed come they call EFCC. They don't even get mouth for that one. I even wonder why they come they call EFCC for matter way they're mad very guilty of. That process self no it don't even make sense. It don't even make sense at all. It don't even make sense. For the Public Procurement Act, there's supposed to be free and fair way of bidding and giving out contracts to people. You know if you come they follow from back they do them. Our teachers and our lecturers specifically, them they too forget say people they look them. Because say people with them they teach, no be small picking, they go feel say they feel just do anyhow. But they go forget say these people they watch them well. They learn some kind of with them they do. They're supposed to pay attention well. Remember say them still get position as role models to adults, even though them no be picking again. Them be role models. They're supposed to act well. This thing pay me when I hear say lecturer they do this kind of thing. It no good.
The EFCC been don arrange the senior lecturer for Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020 for the State High Court for Ekulobia. And the judge carry bail of 10 million naira and one shorty when a lawyer or town union president wey don't pay tax for 3 years go recommend. But this matter of Roger between two people with them no force. That one means say both Rojara and Rojari they willing to do the Roger. Share the giver of the Roger self no dey guilty with the receiver of the Roger. Since now the two of them kuku wandu chukuchuku bypass the due process of awarding contract. I be waiting day okay for goose, not supposed sweet for gander to chop too.
If you collect that kind of money, 27 million naira, say you go promise person contract. Though waiting you might do no good though. Waiting the company do, say they even pay you that money no good. But say you collect person 27 million naira, say you won't give her contracts in the first instance, that one a corruption. Then you can't collect time, you know, constantly give the person contract, you can't chop the money. Now thief you be. And that kind of people no supposed they among the public. Now jail they supposed they inside prison. Both the person will give contract, will collect money, give person contract, and person will collect. Two of them are thief them be. Because even though if you look simple time, if you look dictionary talks say bribery now. If you offer person something, the person will offer person something and person will receive them. Two of them they guilty of bribery and corruption. So the person will give the bribe. Him might dey guilty. The person will collect time, him might dey guilty. Now both of them supposed they jail. So this kind of matter make we dey carry on serious for this country. No be one small thing where we say everybody go just do. You don't too dey prominent for ministries, for government agencies. Now so they do. You see our security agencies and all these law enforcement agencies. I don't even know what thing they do. Person carry matter come say in pay person for contract. Now no go ask am say why you pay this person for contract, why you no follow the real method, the right step to get that contract.
Even the character of even giving bribe, giving money to collect contract is not even good. So both the person will give and the person will collect them, their character is not even good. So we have to condemn the two characters in the first place. But as for the person who even take money and refuse to do what he promised to do, it's also not good, because that person will get morality. For you to say, promise that I'm going to do this for you, give me this, and they give you this, and refuse to do your own. Morality, in terms of morality, that person character no good. But that doesn't mean that the person will even give and the person will take has done good things. Both of them don't do bad things.
The matter of transparency for inside this contract awarding for Nigeria na serious issue where we gas tackle. For this program, We don't carry tori of one Chinese company wey wan bribe EFCC to drop their case after dem use magomago take collect contract for Zamfara State wey dem no do anything after dem don collect the money. The African Development Bank don blacklist dem make dem no fit bid for anything again. Unfortunately, many contractors for dis we country still dey reason am say dem no fit get any contract except dem roger somebody, and true na so e be. So both the rogerer and the rogeree dey willing to join body for magomago, abi?
This na corruption tori.
Well, if the giver of roger dey willing to give the roger, no be say the force am by himself he give that roger, dem suppose dey punish dem too na. At least if the magomago work and the contract enter the basket wey dem set for am, nobody go hear anything. Nobody go know say dem use roger take collect contract for company wey dey better and more qualified to do the work. Nobody go hear, abi? Well, we hope say this lecturer wey show his student nonsense example, e go still fit to show dem say magomago no dey pay o. The wahala wey dey follow am e bad pass how the money sweet to chop. My people, till we carry come again next week Sunday for the correct program Corruption Tori. Abeg my people, make una remember say justice e be like night masquerade. Nobody know when e go come, but when e come, everybody must to feel am. That na everybody wey the matter concern. Anyway, my name na Ufuoma Eguriasi. Una bye bye yo.